Hey guys, what's up? This is Adam for FXG79.com. Got another Minecraft server tutorial for you guys. As you may have known, the most widely used server mod, wrapper, whatever you want to call it, whatever, it was Heyo, otherwise known as HMod. Um, and Heyo was obviously a developer, and he coded this really great software, but he stopped enjoying Minecraft. He didn't even play it. Um, so he decided to stop pushing out updates for Heyo. Ever since we've had Kmod and unofficial updates of Heyo, and some servers have been running on that, but there is actually a new plugin, or not plugin, I'm sorry, server mod called Bukkit. It's BUKKIT .org is their website, and the official Bukkit is not out yet, but they have been releasing builds, just updating stuff. I'm going to talk to you for just a few seconds about the official features of Bukkit. They do have multi-world, which means that you and your users on the server can go to the Nether. It does have a fully featured plugin list. Right now, it's only right here, plugin releases, and this is a temporary plugin place until they finish their repository, which is fill.bukkit.org. It's not up yet, but as soon as it is, they'll have a fully featured system where you can easily get updates to your plugins as they're pushed out by the plugin developers. So that'll make it really easy for you running a server. They have constant memory dumps. It's a lot more stable than Heyo. It doesn't bog your system down. You can usually support more users without having as much lag. And it's just really well stable. It's really well written and pretty stable. I'm liking how it's going. They have actually, if you see this, this is the site where you can go ahead and download it, so I'll put this in the description. So if you want to grab it, go ahead and go over here. This is Luke GB's site. It's called Bamboo. It's kind of like Hudson, if you're familiar with that from him. Luke GB is on the Bukkit team, by the way. So Bukkit, the actual Bukkit jar, is used by plugin developers as an API to develop plugins. That we're not going to be using because that's out of the scope of this tutorial, creating plugins. But what we are going to be using is CraftBukkit, and this is the actual jar file that you're going to run to get a server running. Now, the site's running really, really slow right now. I'm not even sure if it's working. I was just able to get it up. But basically, it's going to take you to a bunch of builds. As you can see, the latest build is number 361. But the one that I've found to be every update pretty much breaks something. So you're going to want to make sure that all your plugins are updated, and that when you update CraftBukkit, it doesn't break your plugins. And you can usually tell that by looking at the forums. And the most recent stable build that I found is build number 357. So if you go ahead and if this loads up, or if it doesn't, I'm guessing it's not going to, but you will be able to see all the builds. If you just go to build 357, and then there's a bunch of tabs at the top like this, you just go to artifacts, and then it will say CraftBukkit jar. You just download that, and it will download a file like this. What you're going to do is you're just going to, oh, did it load? Nope, it didn't. Okay. We're just going to copy this, and then we're going to go to my desktop and create a new folder. Or it doesn't have to be on your desktop, but I'm just going to put it there. And we'll call this Bukkit test. Oh, alright then. I guess we're not. We'll name this, oh, didn't mean to do that. Bukkit testing. Alright. And I just accidentally copied that, so let's see, here it is. There's the one that we don't like. That one's stupid. Alright, so we'll just paste this CraftBukkit jar in here, and what we're going to do is rename it to CraftBukkit.jar. And if you can't see the extensions, just go to your control panel. This is something that everybody should do because it's stupid how Microsoft runs this, but folder options, oops, not options, options. So we'll change search options, and then go to the View tab, and then don't uncheck this. It'll be like this. Uncheck hide extensions from known file types. Hit apply and OK. That way it won't just look like CraftBucket, but it will be craftbucket.jar, and that way you can rename it. But some people mess up that way and rename the file to like craftbucket.jar.jar because they can't see the extension, so they think it's not there. Now we're going to create a new text document, and we'll just call this run server. And what we're going to do is we're going to paste this into it. We're just going to select this. This is for Windows. If you're on Mac, you can check out their website. They have instructions on how to do it for that operating system. And what this will do is detect if your system is 64-bit or 32-bit. Obviously, this is 64 and this is 32, even though the numbers are, or sorry, no, this is 32, this is 64, even though it doesn't look like that. So it'll basically detect which one it is and then run the appropriate file or commands to do that. So as you can see, it's already been named craftbucket.jar instead of craftbucket snapshot, whatever, doesn't matter. I usually bump this up. This is way too low for anything that you're going to be doing. If you're running a large server, I usually bump it up to 1,600, and that'll bump up the RAM that you're using. If you don't have that much, you're going to want to get some more, because running a server is awfully puts a lot of use on your CPU and your RAM. So we're going to go ahead and save as, and we're going to save it as runserver.bat, and we'll save it as all files and hit save. And that will create a batch file that runs this with that amount of RAM. So we'll go ahead and double click it, and it will bring up, oh, that's right. Sometimes you may get that. That means you're either not using enough of this or there's too much. It's a weird glitch with Minecraft's servers. 1024 should work. That's usually what it's set up as. That's about 2 GB, or no, that's 1 GB, sorry, of RAM. So let's go ahead and use that. That's what Minecraft likes. Instead of having a ton of it, you can't initialize it with all that. So it's going to start creating files, and you're going to see it's preparing the spawn area, which means it's creating the world file. This is just like a world file that you'd see when you generate one from Minecraft. It's using the Minecraft system to create a randomly generated world. It's just like any other. It's endless and everything. Alright, so once it's done, we're just going to go ahead and type stop into the console, and you can either close it, or closing it won't save it though, so make sure you just use the stop command. It's going to generate a plugins folder, a worlds folder, and a couple of other files. You're going to want to put your name into the ops, your in-game name, into the ops.txt file. That stands for operator, and it will give you certain permissions, like being able to build in the 16 block protection radius around spawn. And you can just change that off if you want people to actually be able to build, if they're not an op in spawn. I get a lot of comments about people saying, "Oh, I'm a server admin, but I can't build in spawn." It's either because you haven't opt yourself, or you haven't taken that down to 0. So I would just suggest that you leave the spawn protection on at 16, and then just op anybody who you want to be able to build in spawn. Because usually when griefers come into the server, it's like the spawn is the first thing that they target if it's unprotected. So you can edit your settings here: max players, spawn animals, online mode. Make sure you leave this true. You should never put that false ever. I would leave this off. Level name should just stay to world unless you want to change it to something else. Spawn monsters, whatever you want. Leave server IP blank. And we're going to hit save. And you also want to note the server port. I'm just going to go ahead and copy that. And if you can't open server.properties, just do open with, choose default program, and then you can choose Notepad from that, and it will open it, and it will remember that you're supposed to open .properties files with Notepad. So now we're going to go ahead and get some plugins. So we'll go to the forums, and if the repository of fill.bucket.org is out by the time that you're watching this video, then just go ahead and go to that site, and you'll be able to get them from there. But let's just go ahead, and we're going to find essentials. and it's this one. So I'll put this in the description, and you can just go ahead and download the .jar file. It's actually split into a lot of them, so they have a bunch of different ones. These are all the essentials that you'll need to run a server. It's a great plugin. And then we have a zip file, so we can go ahead and get that, and that'll get all of them. And we're going to open up the plugins folder and just copy all of the jars file into there. And they're automatically installed now. When you run the server, it'll detect those jar files and run them. The only other plugin that I'm going to show you is permissions. Since Bukkit at the time that I'm making this video does not have its own built-in permission system with like a users.txt or something like that, we use a plugin called permissions to do that, and it's a lot more, you can edit things a lot better here, and like give only certain groups, you have more control over what certain groups do. So go ahead and find the download for this. Here we go. And save that. Doesn't matter what the name is, by the way, of the plugin. So we'll just copy this into the plugins folder. Where'd it go? Alright, so now it's in there. And we're just going to go ahead and run the server again real quick. Wait till it finishes initializing and everything and prepares the spawn area, and then you'll see it start to load the plugins. Oh, had an error there. Let's see, essentials.jar. So that may be out of date a little bit, but we'll go ahead and stop the server because it should have generated something's wrong with the essentials jar. Alright, so I got it working. For some reason, once I downloaded the plugins individually, so you download each of these instead of downloading the archive, it worked, and I don't know why, but it does. So now we can go into our plugins folder, and there'll be an essentials folder that it automatically generates, and we're going to go into the config.yml again, and you can see stuff like this. It has all kinds of awesome stuff. You can set your ops colors, and that will be red. So any person that's an op will be red. And there are all these settings, but what I'm really looking for, this is the nether if you want to control it. You can get the MOTD, message of the day, rules that can be shown by /rules. This is shown whenever you log in, obviously. We have kits here, so this is everything you really need. And then now we can use the mod helix default. Of course it doesn't use permissions. You're right. What? Alright, hold on. I have permissions installed, and you are a liar. Okay, so now I'm not even on that list. So let's reload. That'll reload all of the plugins and the files. And so now we'll mod helix admins. There we go. Alright, so moved helix to admins, and you can do that in game. You want to be able to do /mod helix admins, and that's how it would be put into the chat. Not that slash at the end, sorry, that was a mistake. So say you wanted to give the default group the power to mod, or let's say the power to I don't know, let's do something off of essentials. Command guide. Let's give them the power to do /top. That would be essentials.top. So you just copy that, and you can get this. All of the plugins have the permissions that you'll need to give them to make them work. So we'll just add this essentials.top. So now default has that command. And if we go ahead and mod helix default, that'll move me to default, and then so I'll just open up Minecraft here and show you guys what this looks like for when you're logging in. At this point, it hasn't been port forwarded, so other people can't connect if they're not on your internet connection, but I'll show you guys how to do that. What you're going to need to type in is localhost. It's localhost. And that just connects it to your computer. If the server is not running on your computer, I can show you guys how to connect to it anyways in just a second. So we'll just go ahead and log in. And since I've never connected to this server, I am currently going to spawn in at the spawn. And you can see the MOTD right there. You can configure that from the essentials.yml file. So here we are at the spawn. It's a little bit laggy because it's generating the world and I'm running the screen cap stuff. But now I'm in the default group. You can see that. So I'll just do /top. There we go. So teleported to top. As you can't really see any effect, but basically that just puts you at the highest point around you, which happened to be not very high. I think it's some block radius around you, and as it finishes rendering there, you can get a little bit less lag. Oops. /top. And that'll teleport you to the top. So now the person has that permission. So let's go ahead and get this online. This is going to be a public server. No. And we'll just X out of that. What we're going to do is going to find your default gateway, and you can do that by opening up a command prompt, typing in CMD and either run or your search bar. On XP it's start, run, CMD. So we're just going to type in ipconfig, and that'll bring up all this information. You're going to need to find your IPv4 address, and then your default gateway. So enter the default gateway into your web browser. Oops. And that'll take you to your router's website. You're going to need to find something that'll either say virtual servers, port forwarding, gaming. It'll be something to that extent. And if you cannot find how to do port forwarding on your router, just go ahead and find your router. Go to your router, find the model number and the name of it. Just search that plus port forwarding on Google. So this would be like Belkin 54G port forwarding, and you'd find a guide on how to do it for your specific router. Now you may need a username and password to connect to the default gateway site. That can also be found in your router manual, so go ahead and check that, or you can check online for it. I need a login to just do port forwarding, so yeah, mine is just blank. So as you can see, I have a 255.65 port. That was the thing we copied earlier from the server.properties file. And so you need to open that port for other people to play on your router, or on your computer, sorry. So this is, as you can see, this is Minecraft temporary, and then you don't need to name it that. It'll just whatever you want. It could be Minecraft, just so you can recognize it. And I have a lot of crap here that shouldn't be here, but so 255.65 to 255.66. You don't need to add in the 66, but for another thing we're running on our server, we need 255.66 open too. So it's a TCP, not UDP, and not both. It's TCP. It won't work if it's not that. And then we're going to go back to this ipconfig and find your IPv4 address, and that's what we're going to enter here. By the way, this is a private IP address. If you give this IP out to people to connect to your server, you can actually enter that into multiplayer. So it's 192.168.2.2. You'll be able to connect to your server, but other people can't because they're not on your router and they can't connect to it. If you go over to your friend's house and type ipconfig, they're going to probably have about the same IPv4 address. Like someone in the world also has a 192.168.2.2. It doesn't distinguish your computer among all the computers in the world, but it only distinguishes your computer on your network, if that makes sense. So don't give this out to people. It won't work, and you can't hack anyone with it, so it's not dangerous in any way. So we'll just go ahead and apply the changes that I made. Just those are private ports in case you want to connect on your router. Most routers don't require that, but mine does for some reason. And then all you need to do is go to a site like whatsmyip.net or ipchicken.com or something like that, or you can just Google what's my IP, and then it'll show you like it's usually like a So that's not my IP, but that's something like what it will give you. I think it's just 2 numbers first. So something like that. And what you would do is just give that out to other people, and as long as your ports are correct, then other people will be able to connect. Now, if you're getting problems like this, I'll show you. I'll just try and connect to point 3. You're going to get it connecting to the server, and if other people are getting this and then they're having like error, well, I'll show you the error that it gives you. But all the errors that it shows are going to mean that you haven't done port forwarding right. And this is how people go wrong. Like 90% of the time when they're making a server, they'll port forward wrong. So if you're getting this kind of error, that means you're port forwarding wrong, and you need to either go back and just watch that again and try and fix it, make sure it's TCP, and it's forwarded to the correct IPv4 address. Sometimes when you restart your computer, some computers have or some routers, excuse me, have a dynamic IP address, which means it will change, and some have a static IP address, which means it won't change. So you may have to update it every time. You may have to update the IPv4 address in the port forwarding information every time you restart your computer, if that's the case. But if you're getting something like this, check your port forwarding, because that's what it means. As long as the server is up and running and you can see it and hear, it's running correctly, and any other errors you get are going to be port forwarding. So Google your router and just find the manual for it, and you'll be able to find the proper way to do port forwarding for your specific router. There's so many routers out there, I can't go over all of them. So yeah, that's basically the basics of making a bucket server. I have a feeling that this is going to go pretty far. This is being made with Minecraft. It's being developed with the people, with Mojang. So they've got a lot of collaboration going on there, which is great. And also, just a few things. I hear a lot of people asking me if they can make me a server, and they're like, I'd like monsters on and PvP off, and if you could make it a 20-player max, that'd be great. I'm like, okay. Servers take up a lot of CPU and RAM usage, and it may not look like it from this little window, but this is also a common error, so don't worry about that. That just means it wants more RAM, but it doesn't need it. And this error up here. Sometimes it says when you're running it, needs more RAM. Just tell it to shut up. It's stupid. But it may not look like it from this little small box, but no one's going to make you a server because it takes a lot of resources to run. No one's going to make one for you for free. It is free if you make it on your own computer, unless you want to buy a dedicated server and run it on that, which would be weird if you're just starting up a server. I wouldn't advise paying for something like that. So I'm not going to make you a server, don't ask. There was something else I was going to say, but I can't remember what it was. Let's just go ahead and stop this. I think that's just about it. If you guys have any questions, you can let me know. And if this helped you, please leave a thumbs up, favorite it, subscribe. I appreciate it a lot. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.